The unbeaten Mizzou basketball team took a 10-point lead into the half against SEMO this afternoon. We'll have the rest of the game in a few minutes. But we're focusing tonight on new Tigers coach Dennis Gates. Since being hired last spring, Gates has been in constant motion, but he's also taken the time to understand the Mizzou brand. It's been obvious the tradition of this program means a lot to you. You recognize Mizzou legends on your Twitter feed every week. I remember reading that you texted every former Mizzou hoops coach about being honored to follow in their path before the season started. Why is that tradition so important to you and what you want to achieve here?
Sometimes, ultimately, when transition happens, there is a divide, right? And my major goal is to think of this thing as not Norm's guys, not Quinn's guys, not Frank's guys, not Mike Anderson guys, not Kim Anderson guys, not Konzo guys, but there are guys. They're Mizzou guys. They're Tigers. And our program is an unbelievable tradition-rich program that has some of the greatest college basketball players, pro basketball players developed through a great city, and that city is Columbia.
Mizzou had a coach in Mike Anderson who ran one of the fastest paces in the country. So far, this team's style reminds me of it a little bit. You're among the tops in fast break points and assists in the entire country. Why is that a style that fits the guys you have?
Well, it fits my personality first and foremost. It fits who I am as a coach. We want to play with pressure offense and pressure defense, and we want to be able to create opportunities. We want players to play with their instincts. And those are the things that I, as a player growing up, as a assistant coach, have always dreamt of when I said I'm going to take over my own program one day. The other part of it is when you have a team number one in assists, you have a team first in steals, you have a team top two in assist to turnover ratio, top 10 field goal percentage, you have an unbelievable style of play that's exciting for our fan base, but also successful and something that's attractive for our recruit.
Let's talk some rivalry games now. The game that means the most to everybody in the state is coming up on
the SEMO game. SEMO game. That's the game that everybody's more important than anything. The SEMO game. I knew you were going to say SEMO. I knew that. You see that? I knew you were going to say SEMO. You're impressive, man.
The next game is always the most important game. But that December 10th game has a lot of people's eyes too. Kansas coming to Columbia. Just how much have people been talking your ear off about how much this game means, and how excited are you to be a part of it?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I called Norm Stewart when I first got the job, right? I said, Coach. And then he said he'll call me back. So we exchanged calls one day. It was this one day he called me about 5 times. I said, Coach, I want to offer you a job to come back as my assistant coach. Will you accept it? He declined, but he quickly, but his wife accepted the job. She said he'll come back. But to tell you the truth, the first story he told me was his experiences during the Big 8, right? Big 12, and that unbelievable tradition between the two programs. But it's the tradition of our program. It's part of the fabric and the thread that connects us with the game of basketball, our former players. There's no doubt about it. I've been a part of some great basketball rivalries. Cal, Stanford, Florida State, Florida. I've seen certain rivalries. I've seen certain atmospheres and great games. I'm sure this is one of them that will definitely go down on that list as well. But none is more important than your next game against SEMO. So the SEMO game is very, very important. And I appreciate you asking me that question, man. That's impressive.
All right, Coach Gates, I hear you loud and clear. For tonight's main event, let's see how that SEMO game played out. Part 2 with Coach Gates, and it's our Cardinal Buick GMC Sunday Conversation. Let's talk about this start now. Undefeated, nationally folks will point to the strength of schedule, but do you really see this non-conference time as a chance to keep tinkering, see what works, and kind of meld all these new pieces you have together?
We've used every possible avenue. High school kid and Aiden Shaw, junior college kid Mohamed Diari and Sean East. Portal guys, you look at who they are throughout our roster, from Moy Hodge, Isaiah Mosley, Dre Golston, Noah Carter, Trago Million. You look at all those kids, but also the returners, Ronnie DeGray III, Kobe Brown, right? And also Caleb Brown. We're mixing in a lot of transition, but to do it, you have to work on team building. And I think our guys have completely sold out, bought in to getting to know the best of each other, but also getting to know the standards, expectations that I have as a head coach and leader.
I could sit here all day and ask about all your players individually, but we don't have time for that, so I'll just pick a few. I'll say a name. You give me a few sentences about what makes them special on the court, and particularly in your system. Kobe Brown first.
Humble leader, very unselfish in spirit, but also a great college player, one of Mizzou's all-time greats, I think.
Isaiah Mosley, a guy that a lot of people were happy to see come back home and what he can do on the court.
Great teammate, unselfish in spirit, very great passer, better passer than he is scorer.
Noah Carter, one of the new guys who I think has turned a lot of heads so far because he can do a little bit of everything.
A great fisherman, a great hunter. He literally is a kid, the first recruit to ever ask me, Coach, can I bring my boat to campus? And to know that he has a balance off the court is the reason why he's so dialed in between the lines, because he has those hobbies. He knows who he is, and he's very unselfish. He's already taken staff members and teammates, and including myself, fishing on his boat with him. So it's been amazing.
Last question. What does success look like to Dennis Gates, both in this first season and then at the end of it all at Mizzou, whenever that is, hopefully a long way down the road. But what does success at Mizzou look like for Dennis Gates?
For me, it's to be a Hall of Fame coach. And to be a Hall of Fame coach, you got to cut down nets, hold up trophies. You have to have draft picks. You have to have graduates. You have to have certain things happening over a period of time that lends itself to that view, but also cuts out a path for you to accomplish such a goal, because there's certain programs that have been, there. And we're one that hadn't. And I think, and I truly believe in my heart that we can one day get there. And I know I can't do it by myself. I got to do it with my Hall of Fame staff and all the Hall of Fame people that I just listed. So it's going to take a village, and I'm excited. I'm definitely excited about it. But our tradition here says that we have a pathway. And I am thankful for our support thus far and our fans, but also with our current student body and making Mizzou Arena a great place to play.